Welcome everybody back to the X Factor Sports Talk. I'm one of your hosts, Fred Weisner, joined as always by my boys, Troy Coomer and Caleb Wilson. We're not stars. We're not superstars. We are X Factors. We are changing the game. Boys, how we doing?
Fantastic. Caleb, what about you?
Well, weather's taking a turn for the better here. I'm in a good mood.
Need that.
Windows were down. I was rolling through the city, beautiful city of Warsaw, taking in everything this city has to offer. It was a fantastic day. And as you said, the weather was incredible. Anytime it's short weather, it's great. It's a great time. But we wanted to bring you guys a little bit of a special with the podcast here and just run through our mid-season playoff predictions. Me and Fred were the two-man band early on, and we did the preseason way. And now Caleb will get added and will be added to my notes. So at the end of the year, we can look back and either see how stupid we were or how smart we are. And I cannot wait until then. But for now, it's all fantasy, so I can't wait to get rolling. And Fred, you made the eye contact, my man. Western Conference 1 through 10. Who you got?
I got the Jazz at the 1 seed. I got the Clippers at the 2 seed. I got the Los Angeles Lakers as the 3 seed. I got the Phoenix Hot Suns as my 4 seed. I got the Portland Trailblazers as my 5. The Dallas Mavericks as my 6. Or I'm sorry. Yes, at the 6. I messed up here. Hold on.
You're good.
The Spurs at the 8.
You missed 7.
I did miss 7 because I wrote down the Blazers twice. I don't know why I wrote the Blazers down twice. The Nuggets at 7, sorry.
Yeah.
The Nuggets at 7 and the Blazers at 5. So Jazz, Clippers, Lakers, Suns, Blazers, Mavs, Nuggets, and then my 8 seeds the San Antonio Spurs.
So that's who you think the playoff field will consist of?
Yes. And then my 9, my playing games would be my 7, which is the Nuggets, and then they'll play the Warriors, and then the Spurs will be playing the Grizzlies.
All right. And you can just hop right over to your Eastern Conference.
Guys, why do you have the you had the Clippers at 4?
I had the Clippers at 2.
What do you think? Like, why do you think they make such a I mean, they're like what in the 3 or 4 seed right now, but like, why do you think they make the jump to 2 and the Suns go down?
I think they're a better team.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously, but it's like, I mean, you have a history of Kawhi and Paul George resting and missing games and stuff.
I think they go for it. I think they go for a better seed this year.
I don't know. It's like the Lakers. I feel like they know how good they are, so it's like they're not going to really care of the seeding. But I was just curious.
Yeah, I think the Clippers will make noise. I think they're going to get really hot here at the end of the second half of the season.
Real quick, your biggest change. Okay, I kind of wanted to throw this out there from the preseason one. My man predicted the Warriors to be the 2 seed. That is the biggest change in Fred's, and I wanted to point out both of our biggest change, and that was his on the west side. Warriors were the 2 seed, and the Kings were the 8, but the Kings are not looking like a playoff team so far.
I'll admit when I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I like looking back at these things. We get to see where we first had it. All right, so Eastern side now, Fred.
I got the 76ers as my 1. I got the Brooklyn Nets as the 2. The Milwaukee Bucks is my 3. The Indiana Pacers is my 4. The Boston Celtics is my 5. The New York Knicks is my 6. The Miami Heat is my 7. And the Washington Wizards is my 8. So my playing game would consist of 9-seeded Wizards playing the 10-seeded Hornets, and then the 7-seeded Heat playing the 8-seeded Raptors.
Imagine a playing game of the Heat and the Raptors. You want to talk about a battle? That would be a battle. Let me look at your East side real quick. Biggest change is probably the Celtics. You had them at the 1st seed, and they're all the way down at the 5. So that was probably the biggest change. That'll probably be the biggest change for both of us, if I'm being completely honest.
Yep.
So there is Fred's field. And now I'm interested to see where Caleb will go here. So Western Conference first, Caleb. Your mic is unplugged.
All right.
Okay, there we go. Now we can hear.
Probably not as good, but
Yeah, we're good.
Sound right.
So I didn't realize we were doing like looking at our preseason rankings because I probably could have found mine, but that's nonetheless. But anyways, 1 I have the Jazz. They're there now. I think they'll stay hot. 2 I actually have the Suns. 3 the Clippers. 4 the Lakers. 5 Blazers. 6 Nuggets. 7 Spurs. 8 Mavs. 9 Warriors, and 10 Grizzlies.
So you had the Mavs at 8.
I do.
Who you have at 7?
Spurs.
Spurs.
So then the first playing game is Warriors Grizzlies. I have Warriors winning. Second playing game is Spurs Mavs. I have Mavs winning. So the Mavs ultimately become 7 seed. And then that means the Warriors and Spurs would play, right?
Yeah, for the 8th seed.
I have the Warriors winning that one.
All right. So that is a nice Western Conference side. And on the East side, what do you got?
76ers 1, Bucks 2, Nets 3, Raptors number 4.
Ooh.
Celtics 5, Pacers 6, Knicks at 7, Heat at 8, Hornets at 9, and Bulls 10.
Break down those play-in games for me.
Hornets, Bulls. I have the Bulls winning. I think Zach LaVine is one of the best scorers in the league right now.
He had 36 tonight.
Dude, he scores at every level. And I think they're really scary. Like I said this beginning of the season, like they're a really scary team to see in a playing game because if they get hot, it's over for you. And I'll just
a nice offensive team.
I'll predict they get hot. And then Knicks, Heat. For the other playing game, I have the Heat winning that one. Heat ultimately becoming 7 seed. And then Bulls, Knicks. I'll just ride the hot hand of the Bulls. You know, why not? I made the case for them, a couple weeks ago that they'll make the playoffs. So I'll stick with it. You know, it's a fantasy world, so why not have fun with it?
So you have Bulls at 8 now.
Yep.
And then the Heat at 7.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then for me, I have the Jazz at 1, which was unanimous. Everybody has the Utah Jazz at 1. I have the Lakers at 2, Clippers at 3, Suns at 4, Blazers at 5, Nuggets at 6, Warriors at 7, and Mavs at 8. So my playing games, I have the 9 and the 8, or 9 and the 10, Mavs and Grizzlies. I have the Mavs winning. And then my 7 and the 8 is the Warriors and Spurs. I have the Warriors winning, ultimately becoming the 7th seed. And then the Mavs and Spurs, a little Texas game there. I got the Mavericks winning. And so my biggest change is probably I have the Houston Rockets in the playoffs. And that is not looking too hot. So,
yeah, that was hard to predict before the season. And like I remember I wrote I had the Nets before the season started. I had them at 6 just as like a safety net because it's like you didn't know how Katie and Kyrie were going to look.
Real quick, I will bash myself. I had the Jazz at 7. So there was that. Yeah. And I'm not sure Fred had the Jazz in the playoffs.
I didn't have the Jazz in the playoffs. So.
Yeah. So the Jazz, big surprise. Caleb, were you hot on the Jazz?
I had them like middle of the pack. I think.
Yeah.
I might have had them 4, but it was like 4 to 6 range.
Yeah. Yeah, they are an interesting team, but we'll kind of touch base on that as they go through the playoff run here. And on my east side, I actually have the Milwaukee Bucks as my 1. The 76ers as the 2, the Nets as the 3, Celtics 4, Heat 5, and then I got the Raptors 6, Hornets 7, and 8, I have the Wizards, but you'll see how they get there. At my 9 and 10 matchup, I have the Hawks and the Wizards. Wizards ultimately beat the Hawks in the 9-10 game. And the 7th and the 8th, I have the Knicks and the Hornets. Hornets ultimately winning the 7th. Knicks, Wizards. I'm taking the Wizards to become the 8th seed.
You didn't have the Pacers in there at all, did you?
I did not.
All right.
I did not have the Pacers in the playoff hunt.
What?
I did not. I think that they're going to take steps back as we come closer and closer to playoff time. It is my hot take of the episode, I guess. Pacers fall out of the top 10 seeds of the Eastern Conference.
That is a scalding hot.
I have to speak it into existence, Caleb.
I know. Me and him got that bet going.
Existence.
He has to put them there. I didn't have the Hawks in my top 10, so I get it. So.
Why would you? The Hawks stink.
Hawks are a solid little team, man, whenever they are at full strength. But my biggest change would probably be the Hawks at 6. That's probably my biggest. I was really high on the Hawks coming into the season. Fred, you also had them in the playoff hunt. Not sure where, but you had them somewhere. But I have them at 6, which is extremely high, obviously. So I'll take that one. But hey, you never know. The Eastern Conference is a wild, wild thing. Takes one.
It's so hard to do right now because it's like, dude, there's like, if you're in the 10th spot, you're 4 games behind.
The West, I feel like, is a little bit easier because there's 10 teams that are probably locked. Maybe
like the Grizzlies aren't going to be above 6. Like 6 is like a high mark for them. So
and like literally the only team I could see switching is like the Grizzlies and the Pelicans or something like of that effect where there's like
had the Pelicans in top 10, did we?
No.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Too young.
You think they're too young? What about you, Caleb?
I don't think they know how to use Zion like at all. Like I don't
think they knew how to use anyone.
Zion a couple games ago had like 26 points or like 75% shooting. In the fourth quarter, had like never got any touches. And then I turned on their game tonight for a few minutes, and he had 14 points in the first quarter, and there was like a minute left in the third, and he had 16 points. Like he's not getting touches, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And ultimately too, like with Zion, like yeah, dude, he's a freak. But at the end of the day, I just don't know if he can lead a team to winning basketball because it's like when you're taking nothing but 2s and the other team's taking a bunch of 3s, it's like, you know what I mean? That kind of.
I'm on the other end. I think Zion does a great job. I really do. I think he's a great screen and roll man. I think he's a guy that you can throw out there.
He does a good job. I just don't know if
I love him.
Something
I really like him.
Can an undersized 4 take a team to a championship?
I mean,
not with this group, no.
Yeah, not with the team he has around him. I think if you give him a good group of guys, maybe in a few years this team could be ready. But this year, as we all here would say, they're not in the top 10. Yeah. So very interesting stuff there. Fred, we'll let you take it away, man. Take us through your 1 through 8, all those matchups on the West side here.
Just the first round?
Yeah, just the first round, please.
You said start with the West?
Yep.
So for my 1-8, I had the Jazz and the Spurs, and I have the Spurs winning that. For my 4-5.
No. Explain that. You can't.
How many games? Like kind of.
Oh, sure. The Spurs win it in 5. I think they're just a better team. I think Dejounte Murray shuts down Donovan Mitchell, and I think the mix between Trey Lyles and Jakob Poeltl give Rudy Gobert trouble, especially the shot blocking ability of Jakob Poeltl.
I can't believe you can say that with a straight face.
I think DeMar DeRozan's an issue, and the emergence of Keldon Johnson this year, who's averaging 14 and 7.
Bro, that's a hot take, brother.
I think the San Antonio Spurs experienced coach Greg Popovich gets it done in 5 games against the Jazz. Any more questions?
No.
I mean, if there is a team that I would like to see upset, I think it would be the Spurs. But do I think they would do it?
Okay. Moving on, please. The number 4 seeded Phoenix Suns against number 5 Trailblazers. I think the Phoenix Suns beat them in 4. I think it's a clean sweep, and the Phoenix Suns go on to the next round. Next, I have the Los Angeles Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. The 2 versus 7. I think the Los Angeles Clippers win that in 6.
Little rematch.
Yep. And then for the 3 and the 6, I have the Lakers versus the Mavs, and the Lakers get that done in 5.
Okay, so let me kind of overview what you got here. You got advancing to the second round, the 8-seeded Spurs, the 4-seeded Suns, 2 Clippers, and the 3-seeded Lakers. So it'll be a Spurs, Suns, Clippers, Lakers semifinal action. So let's go to the Eastern Conference side here for you, man.
I have the 1-seeded 76ers being the 8-seeded Washington Wizards. I think that is a clean sweep. 4 games. Get them up out of here. Joel Embiid has 90 points a game. I have the number 4 Indiana Pacers against number 5 Boston Celtics. I do have the Indiana Pacers losing that to the Boston Celtics. I think Boston takes
it. You led me on, man.
I thought for sure he was about to say it.
Boston Celtics.
I literally started shaking my head.
Led by Jaylen Brown. Get that done in 6. The number 2 Brooklyn Nets against the number 7 Miami Heat. I think the Nets take that in 5. And then the 3-seeded Milwaukee Bucks lose to the 6-seeded New York Knicks in 6 games, and the Knicks go to the next round against the Bucks.
I love it.
If you can't tell, he might be a Knicks fan.
You said you have the Blazers and Suns facing each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you said the Suns sweep them.
Clean sweep.
Why?
Better team.
Okay, I mean, I'm not disagreeing, but like, I mean, what's ultimately the deciding factor in a series like that?
I think DeAndre Ayton is the X factor there.
Okay,
I think he finishes out the year playing exceptional. I think the Suns' defense is elite.
Dude, the defense
They're
top 5 in the league, man.
Their offense is too.
The Suns are elite, man.
They're
The
just good.
Suns are for real.
And I think I don't know. I just don't see the Blazers. Yeah.
As
Do I really-
bad as I think we all kind of want to see the Blazers get over the hump.
I don't at all. I could
I
care less
do.
about the Trailblazers.
They're just they can never stay healthy. They have a
Yeah.
curse.
I would
There's-
love for Dame to get a good run, one more good run.
I
But
think the Suns get them and put them in a box, and then they can't do anything.
so for your semifinals on the Eastern side, you got the 1-seeded 76ers facing off against the 5-seeded Celtics, 2-seeded Nets versus the 6-seeded Knicks, correct?
I do.
Okay.
Battle of New York.
All right, Caleb, let's hop right over to you. Let's get your semifinals going. First, start with the West, as Fred did, and you can get it rolling.
So I have the Jazz versus Warriors. I have the Jazz winning in 5. I think the Jazz are just playing really, really good basketball. Have more faith in them than I do the Warriors. I wasn't high on the Warriors coming into the season. 4, I have the Lakers going up against the 5-seeded Blazers. I have them winning that in 5 as well. Too dominant. Blazers won't stay healthy, period.
Yeah.
2-7, I have the Suns going up the Mavs, and as much as it hurts me, I have the Suns moving on in 6. I think that could be the most entertaining round of the first, most entertaining matchup of the first round. And then 3-6, I have the Clippers going up against the Nuggets. I have the Clippers coming out on top this year in 7.
Ooh, so they get out of their second half woes. I read a stat today that said Paul George right now in the fourth quarter is shooting below 25% in
He
the
ain't
last
that team. That's
7
Kawhi's team.
of a game. Kawhi is also shooting below 30% in fourth
They'll
quarter.
figure it out.
And-
I'm not worried about that.
all right, so your second round matchups look like the 1-seeded Jazz versus 4-seeded Lakers, and then the 2-seeded Suns versus the 3-seeded Clippers. I think, in my opinion, this would be the perfect semifinals. If it were to lay out this way, I think it'd be the perfect semifinals.
I'm hurt you didn't say that about mine.
I mean, I don't want to see the Spurs. I love watching Spurs games. I've been very adamant about it. I don't want to see them in the second round.
Not in the playoffs.
Not in the playoffs. They're a good regular season team. They're like the Hornets right now.
Just
Very
wait.
fun
Just
to
wait.
watch in the regular season. Don't want to see them in the playoffs.
Just wait.
All right, Caleb. Eastern Conference. Where you got rolling?
76ers going up against the Bulls here. That's clean sweep. I mean, I don't even know if it's entertaining.
No.
4-5, I have Raptors going up against Celtics. I have the Raptors coming out on top this year. What came down for me for this team is like I feel like the Raptors know who they are and know what they are. It's like they know their brand of basketball. They know what they want. The Celtics are still looking, man, because it's like they're struggling. The Raptors started off bad but are picking it up. I just like I when it comes down to it, the Celtics need a piece and they don't know what it is.
Did you say how many games?
6.
6. Okay. All right.
So then I have the Bucks Heat. I have the Heat coming out on top in 6. I think the Heat got their number, man. He has their number.
That one.
Yep. And then I have the Nets going up against the Pacers. Give me the Pacers in 7. Let's do it. Give me the Pacers. I think the 2 big men for Indiana will be too big of a problem for the Nets. Their defense is not that great. And this will be their first time all coming together in like a serious, like when it counts basketball. And I think they're going to struggle. So
Yeah.
Pacers.
It could be a figuring out year for the Nets. But for your second round, you got the 1-seeded 76ers versus the 4-seeded Raptors. And then the 7-seeded Miami Heat versus the 6-seeded Indiana Pacers. That would be very interesting.
Yep.
So both of you guys got now your Elite 8, we'll call it. And so now let's switch over to mine. On the Western side, I got the 1-seeded Jazz versus the 8-seeded Mavericks. Jazz in 5. I don't know. I think that the Mavs could make it close, and I really wanted to pick the Mavs. Like everything inside of me wanted to pick the Mavs just because I think they're more entertaining. But I don't think they'll beat the Jazz, and the Jazz are very good. So then my 4 and 5, I got the Suns and the Trailblazers, and I think the Suns win in 6. Not the clean sweep that Fred was calling for, but 6 nonetheless. And then the 2-seeded Lakers versus 7-seeded Warriors, Lakers in 5. The 3-seeded Clippers versus the 6-seeded Nuggets. I got the Nuggets in 6. I think that the Clippers they're fighting those demons. And I don't see they don't have a vocal leader. And in a situation where you're fighting vocal or mental demons, you need somebody to help you, and they don't have nobody to help. So my final 4 on the West side is the Jazz and the Suns, and then the Lakers and the Nuggets. And then on my Eastern Conference side, the Bucks and the Wizards. Bucks beat them bad, sweep. So the Bucks will move on. My 4-seeded Celtics versus 5-seeded Heat. I got the Heat also moving on to the second round in 6. And then 76ers Hornets. 76ers sweep. Don't think it'll be very entertaining. 76ers are very, very good. And then my 3-seeded Nets versus the 6-seeded Raptors. I got the Nets in 6. So my final 4 on the East side is the Bucks and the Heat, 76ers, and the Nets. So we all kind of are going different routes. So this will be intriguing to see some of these.
And I can guarantee you it's only going to continue.
I guarantee it. So it'll be very interesting to see. Fred, we'll hop right back to you, man. Go ahead and take us through your Western Conference. Just go ahead, take us who makes it to the championship on the Western side for you.
Sure. So I have the 8-seeded Spurs going against the 4-seeded Suns, and I got Phoenix winning that in 5.
Okay, we're good with that one. I was about to.
And then I have the 2-seeded Clippers going against the 3-seeded Lakers, and I got the Lakers winning that in 6. It's LeBron. He ain't losing.
I thought for sure you were going to go Clippers just to kind of get me going, but I'm glad you didn't.
And guess what? Lakers in 4 go to the chip.
Seriously, like they sweep the Suns?
They sweep the Suns. They mop the floor with the Suns. It's not even close. I'm talking 20 ball every night. Just 20 piece. With a side of biscuits. You kidding me? Los Angeles Lakers, your Western Conference champion, going to the finals. I said it since the beginning of the year. It's LeBron James. That man ain't losing. So let's go have some fun up in the Eastern side.
Oh,
We
God.
got the 76ers, Boston Celtics. I got the Sixers in 7. And I have the 2-seeded Nets against the 6-seeded New York Knicks. And sadly, the Battle of New York goes to the better team here. The New York Knicks go to the Eastern Conference Finals.
How many games?
4 games.
You said
Clean
4? You
Yeah,
said
sir.
4?
Clean sweep, sir. Yes, sir. I did say that. Emmanuel quickly goes for 40 every night. So with that being said,
Oh my God. Oh,
the next
you got me crying in another video, bro.
the winner of the Eastern Conference, it comes down to 7 games. There's 2.6 seconds left on the clock. 76ers down 1. Pass the ball on Joel Embiid. Little dream shake. Fade away. Quickums. Ball hits the rim. Bounce. Kawhi-esque. Boom, boom, boom. Hits the back of the rim. Hits the front of the rim. Falls back in 76ers in 7.
Did you see that game winner he had tonight?
No, I didn't, but I saw it went off.
Dude, he was literally at the block and then tripled backwards to the 3-point line, pump faked. The defender
good.
hit it in his face and still hit it.
So I got Philadelphia and Los Angeles in the championship.
All right. So 76ers Lakers is Fred's predicted championship. So very interesting stuff there. Caleb, take us on your wild journey, man. You got anything playing like Fred had for us?
You had to expect it from me.
So I have the Jazz Lakers, Lakers in 7.
Ooh.
Lakers in 7.
Jazz give them all they can handle.
I think they'll throw a lot at they have a lot to throw at LeBron with Royce O'Neal and other guys that they can just throw at him all night long. They'll ultimately prevail. Then I have the Suns Clippers. I have the Suns coming out on top in 6. Top 5 offense, top 5 defense.
Chris Paul effect.
Yeah, I think they don't have anybody. I mean, like, who are you going to throw on? Never mind. Well, I'll get to more of the Suns here in a bit. 76ers Pacers up next.
No, you have 76 Raptors.
Sorry. Yeah, 76 Raptors. I have the Raptors in 5. Raptors in 5. I already gave it away, but oh And then Heat Pacers, like I said, I have the Pacers coming out on top in 6.
So your Eastern Conference Finals is the Raptors and the Pacers.
No, I said 76ers over the Raptors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. 76ers in 5.
Okay.
Pacers in 6. And then do you want me to go with the next round as well?
Yes, sir. Shoot it for me.
Yeah. Lakers, Suns. I have the Suns in 6. Here's what it comes down to for me. And I really feel like Anthony Davis is not going to be healthy enough for a deep playoff run. I don't know why. When I was thinking about this, when I was writing it down, there was something in the back of my mind. It's like he's not going to be healthy. He's not going to stay healthy, or he's not going to be 100%. So ultimately, I have the Suns coming out on top there in 6. And then over in the East, I think this would be a really entertaining matchup, especially in a deep playoff run. 76ers, Pacers. 76ers, way too many offensive weapons. So I have the 76ers on top in 6 as well.
Okay. So the Eastern Conference champ is the 76ers. Western Conference champ is the Phoenix Suns.
Talk about a team turning around.
I was about to say, Caleb is predicting what once was pre-bubble like a 27-44 record. Pre-bubble.
The last 5 years,
all the way in just one short year time, acquiring Chris Paul, adding a few other pieces, obviously. And they make it all the way to the championship. Caleb's championship prediction is the 76ers and the Suns. Really interesting to see where you go with that one. But for me, on to the semifinals here, the 1-seeded Jazz versus the 4-seeded Suns. I also have the Phoenix Suns in the Western Conference Finals. I have them beating the Jazz in 7 games. I think that'll be a very entertaining series.
If it have the Suns in at least in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, I actually thought I was going to be the only one. So I'm actually pretty surprised. It kind of scares me now because I was viewing them more as like an underdog type role. But hey, Suns into the Western Conference Finals, and then Lakers Nuggets, a rematch of the Western Conference Finals. Lakers in 6. I don't think the Nuggets really can defend them. And then Suns Lakers. I have the Lakers in 6. I think this one would also be a very entertaining series. Could easily go to 7 games, like very easily. I think this is one of the few teams that could take the Lakers, and I think it's the only team in the Western Conference that could take the Lakers to 7 games. But I think they win in 6 nonetheless. On my Eastern Conference side, Bucks and the Heat. I actually have the Bucks winning in 6. I think that this is the year. I texted you guys. I was sitting there on a Sunday afternoon watching the Milwaukee Bucks, okay, play against the Clippers. After we recorded our beautiful redraft, go check it out. Giannis was absolutely terrorizing Kawhi and Paul George in the 4th quarter. Like he put the team on his back, scored 17 of the last 21. It's exactly what I needed to see from Giannis in a playoff setting. And now I think they did just turn around and lose by about 30 to like the Grizzlies or something. But listen, when the games matter, that's all that matters to me. And the Bucks have a really good defense, and they're really solid on offense. And just with time to figure it out, that's why I have them as my predicted 1 seed. I think they figure it out and ultimately get there and beat the Heat in 6. And then the 76ers Nets, 76ers in 6 games. 76ers are just a very good team. Like they're unbelievable. I don't think the Nets are better. I actually think the Nets are probably like the 4th best team in the East. And then 76ers Bucks Eastern Conference Finals. I'm taking the 76ers as well in 7. I think it's a very tight series. I was battling this one probably the longest in terms of what I was going to go with. But yeah, 76ers in 7. So my championship is the 76ers Lakers, just like Fred. And Caleb has the 76ers. 76ers unanimous in our little wow. I didn't expect a team to be unanimous across the board as the Eastern Conference champ. I thought one person would sway the Nets. But
I thought Fred would.
Fred early on, why the change? Why the change? Because I know before we get into our championship predictions, because I know you had them as your predicted favorite coming into the year, outside of the Lakers, obviously, because I knew you were like the Lakers are going to run it.
Did you pick KD as your MVP?
He did. He was very high on the Nets. Kevin Durant, MVP. He thought this team was going to run it in the Eastern Conference and meet the Lakers ultimately. So why the change of heart, Fred? I really want to hear it.
Defense, plain and simple. They can't guard anyone if they tried. Now, if they get Andre Drummond, things could get really dicey.
Interesting thing with the Nets is like they're playing really well up to this point. Like they've made the jump to like second in the East. But it's like, dude, because James Harden's having his way right now. And it's like when Kevin Durant comes back, does that change? You know what I mean? Like,
who's guarding Joel Embiid?
Kevin Durant's not playing right now, and they're the hottest they've been since the trade.
And that's not taking away anything from Kevin Durant, but that's like that's like a dude that needs the ball.
But I will say, if there was one guy that I would like to be sitting out and get the team to be rolling, it would be Kevin Durant because he's so easy to plug and play. What were you going to say, Fred?
Who's guarding Joel Embiid on that team?
Not a soul.
No.
Nicholas Claxton, DeAndre Jordan. They're going to throw Jeff Green on him. They might honestly try to throw Kevin Durant and then double.
That ain't going to work.
He'd get doubled every time.
That would literally have to be their strategy. Try to score 140 would have to be their strategy in the playoffs. That's just not how you win in the playoffs. So
I could see the Nets though making like making it to the finals because it's like
they're so talented, man.
That's what Bill Simmons said it like this. He's like, all you need is like the three superstars each to have a game where they go off, and then just one game where the team plays really well. And it's like that's not out of the question. That's not a like.
If they really figure it out defensively by the end of the year.
Which they've been taking steps in the right direction. I've been really critical of them, and I've been really hard on them, as I have with the Bucks. But I watch a lot of the Nets games, and man, they're starting to make steps in the right direction. Obviously, now is their most important part of their season is the next 3 weeks. The buyouts, the trades, what goes on here. So it'll be interesting to see. So
but you got to think one of these teams that we have, one of these 20 teams we have on here is getting Blake Griffin. One of these 20 teams is probably getting Andre Drummond. Maybe Victor Oladipo, maybe. You know what I mean? So it's like
and probably like Trevor Ariza, the guys that can make impacts on some teams and guys we probably haven't even thought of, like an Evan Fournier, maybe a Vucevic, like Terrence Ross. There's guys out there that you can be like, and like
Fred Weisner, guys that just can really make a difference.
The G League wonder Fred Weisner. But
put me in the corner. You kidding me?
Fred, who is your champion, man? 76ers, Lakers. I want the champion and the finals MVP. And then if you got like projected stats that the finals MVP guy can put up, throw them in.
Sure. The whole year, at the beginning of the year, I said the Lakers are running the table. You ain't beating the Kang. But the Kang's getting dethroned. Philadelphia 76ers in 6. Joel Embiid is your finals MVP. He averages 32, 13, and 2.5 blocks.
Hold on. Let me slow down for me. How many points?
32.
How many rebounds?
13.5.
And then 2.5 blocks?
2.5 blocks.
Sheesh. What a stat line that would be. So
he's not only your finals MVP, he is your regular season.
And then, so regular season, finals MVP, takes down the Lakers, has arguably the greatest season you could possibly have as any athlete, let alone just a big man.
The big man's back.
And then you could easily say, if this happens, he's the best player in the league.
No, LeBron James is still in the league.
But, I mean, if he dethrones him, wins MVP, finals MVP, LeBron can't beat him, doesn't that kind of throw him right into the best player in the league, especially with LeBron?
It throws him in the conversation for sure.
He would have to be top 3. And
until LeBron retires, I don't care if LeBron's averaging 3 points a game, LeBron's the best player in the league.
All right.
That's just plain and simple.
All right. So you got the 76ers. Fred's prediction is the 76ers in 6 over the Lakers. MVP, Joel Embiid, 32, 13.5, 2.5 blocks. So there's his prediction. Caleb.
We say Joe.
You have the one that could be a little bit different. 76ers Suns, the new Western Conference team, the new kids on the block. I know they're screaming your name. You're all about the underdog, the fighter, the gritty guy.
All right.
So where are you going, man?
Okay, Fred went 76ers. My heart originally went 76ers. I said that at the beginning of the year. I think they're a championship favorite. But let's get crazy. Give me the
No,
Suns.
no.
Give me the Suns.
Oh no.
They're a top 5 offense, top 5 defense. You got Chris Paul at the helm. You've got an elite scorer in Devin Booker. You've got guys that are great plug-in guys, Jay Crowder, Mikal Bridges.
They got one guy on roster who's been to the finals?
All right. I don't care. Who do the 76ers have? Danny Green?
Yeah.
That's one guy.
Hey, if they win, he's won 3 straight finals with 3 different teams.
I watched the 76ers Jazz. I think I'm pretty sure they ended up winning, but they really struggled against a good 3-point shooting team. And the Suns, good 3-point shooting team.
Did you say how many games?
I have the Suns in 6.
Wow.
Who's Ben Simmons guard?
Devin. I would put Ben on Devin.
Would you?
My MVP. You ready for this?
Oh God.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Jay Crowder. I'm just kidding. Chris Paul.
Nope. Mikal Bridges.
Ew.
I think he plays like it's kind of like an Iguodala effect, like how it was a couple of years ago. Provides really solid defense, some scoring offensively. I have him at like 19 a game, 8 rebounds and like 4 assists with like 2-3 steals a game. I can see it happening.
Yo, his arms are stupid long.
Yeah,
very smart player. I like Mikal.
That's what I'm saying. Like ultimately, like an Iguodala role. Come in. I mean, he starts, so it's like, I mean, just play solid defense. Like he's probably the guy you put on Ben Simmons. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Caleb with a little weirdo action here.
Got to, man.
76ers versus Suns. He's going with the Suns in 6, and Mikal Bridges adding into the list of already weirdos who have won the Finals MVP. And Mikal Bridges would be probably front in line. He'd probably be one of the front members of the club. So Caleb predicting the Phoenix Suns to be the champion. Wow. With Mikal Bridges.
Got to zig when everybody's zagging, man.
Hey, you got to go with the Caniac when everybody's going with the box.
So
Now
early on in my Western Conference, I said that the Phoenix Suns could be one of the teams to take the Lakers to 7. I am going to tell you who I think will take the Lakers to 7, and that's the Philadelphia 76ers. The 76ers team is unbelievable, and they could easily beat the Lakers. Easily. They could easily win the championship. But I have Lakers in 7. I think LeBron in a game 7, Anthony Davis in a game 7. I think that LeBron would have these guys ready to go. It'd probably be a packed Staples Center is what I'm assuming by that time.
Wouldn't they be at Wells Fargo?
Yes, they would. On my side, no, they'd be with the Lakers.
In game 7? Why is
Lakers
that?
are my 2. Lakers are my 2 seed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Lakers are my 2 seed. It would be in Staples Center.
Is that how they decide that?
It's winning. It's whoever has the biggest record, high like winning percentage or. So Lakers in 7 in Staples Center. My MVP Anthony Davis, 27 points, 12.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 3 blocks a game, and an astounding 55% from the field. I don't know
percentage. All right.
I don't know if you saw him last year in the playoffs. My man was hooping. Couldn't be stopped, couldn't miss. It was beautiful, beautiful basketball. I think he locks in against Joel Embiid whenever Joel Embiid will probably be the MVP, and I'm sure LeBron will want to show the world, and as LeBron always wants to do, why he's the best. But I think Anthony Davis gets the better end of the battle in terms of the teammate battle that they always play.
Let me ask you all this. Who's the X factor on each team outside of the MVP you pick?
Okay,
who's the key for them winning? So for Caleb, the Suns, me, the 76ers, and Troy, you, the Lakers.
Okay, who you want to go first?
I'll do mine, Seth Curry.
So you think yours is Seth Curry for the 76ers,
Mm-hmm.
a very, very knockdown, deadly shooter, can absolutely spread the court, can do a lot of other things, create for others, create for himself.
Yep.
It's actually a really difficult question. Caleb, who you think needs to be the X factor for this?
Outside of your MVP?
I mean, so you don't want me to say like superstars, do you? You want me to go with like a role guy?
Mm-hmm.
Jay Crowder.
I agree. I would say the same thing.
Yep.
Troy, what about you? What about the Lakers?
I'm battling 2 guys, but
I already know who you should say.
I'll give you my answer.
Montrezl Harrell.
Marc Gasol.
against the Sixers.
Yeah.
It's got to be
That's your,
Travis.
best bet. That's your best bet for Joel in the
If
post.
I'm being honest, I don't think Marc Gasol is a rotational piece whenever we make the finals run.
Whoa, that's a hot
I
take.
think that he's on the roster because he's on a 2-year
That-
deal. I
who's
don't
the
think they
big
cut
man
him.
then?
Do what?
Who's the other big man then?
I think that they will make an addition, but I don't think he'll be the rotational guy.
Okay, if they make an addition, sure, but like, okay.
That's what I'm saying. That's just me.
So who's your X
I
factor?
was just like, okay. I mean,
My X factor would have to be either KCP or Alex Caruso. I think that their ability to space the floor for the team would be huge. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope was the X factor last year during our run. He was our
I'd say
third guy.
KCP over Caruso.
Yeah, KCP was our third guy, and he has really struggled this year. He has, and it would be nice to see maybe KCP's playoff KCP. Who knows? Maybe he's the next playoff Rondo. We don't know. So I think KCP will be the X factor.
Okay.
So that was very interesting. That was tough to come up with on the spot, but good stuff there. Everybody get out what they want to say, or
do I really think the Suns win it all? Here's hoping, but I mean, I wanted to, I didn't want us to all to agree on one thing, so
I
whatever.
got you. So
Go
we
next.
all three have different champions.
Yep.
I
I'm
thought at least,
really, really glad. I didn't think it would happen that way.
and neither did I. I thought at least one of us would agree.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Fred, you got anything to say to close us out?
Go next.
Go next. I mean, you got them the Eastern Conference Finals?
Yes, sir. You
7-game
dig.
series, 1 game away from the championship.
You dig. You dig.
Oh goodness. Do you have a reason why? Who's the X factor for the Knicks, Fred?
Derrick Rose.
I thought you would say quickly.
I thought for sure you were going to say Emmanuel.
He's a superstar. I can't say him.
He's a superstar.
Rookie of the year, man. What you mean?
I love that.
LaMelo Ball. Whom?
I love that. No, LaMelo's the rookie of the year.
Yeah, he's also a top 10 point guard.
Check out his numbers. Bud. All right, get us out of here.
I'm taking old Derrick Rose over him.
Obviously, I haven't been watching basketball. All right, let's keep it.
Oh, I've been watching Derrick Rose getting buckets. Derrick Rose's team's winning. That's all I'm saying. Anyway,
The Horns
you
are a
all.
playoff spot, my guy.
The Knicks are better. Is Gordon Hayward on an All-Star? Thank you all so much for tuning into the X Factor. Thank you all so much for tuning into the X Factor Sports Talk. I've been your host, Fred, as always, joined by our co-hosts, Troy and Caleb. Change the game. Be an X Factor. Don't be a star. Don't be a superstar. Be an X Factor. Change the game. We'll see you guys next time. God bless and peace out.
Peace.